The budget for the new high school was, the bond issue was $54.5 million, as I recall. The actual budget, though, is $63.5 million. So can you tell us how you got the extra money from the 54.5 to be up to $63 million?
Yes.
Mr. Bore, right? Okay. Well, I think it's no big secret. High school did come in over budget. It was nothing that anybody was prepared for. In fact, we were all quite disappointed. You know, there's times I feel like folks think there's this big conspiracy that maybe we knew, we did not know. You know, I often, and I've sat there and I've tried to think from many of you all's perspective. You know, I think about from the role of a professional, like an engineer, an architect who was involved, very much involved, and put their professional reputation on the line when they provided us with that quote. What would they have had? What would they have had to gain in that, in order to submit something that was off by so much? So I've really kind of struggled with why folks think there was this something we knew. I mean, we didn't. It was a disappointment. How did we come up with the extra money? Fortunately, we have a great board of commission that we work with, and we have some very smart individuals on that board who also know how to take the money that we were allocated and help us get to the point where we needed to be. I know we have heard the word premium several times. When those bonds were sold, they were sold at premium, and that gave us the extra money. And luckily, because of that extra money, the school is moving forward. And yes, the price may not have been exactly what we had hoped it would be, but I also do know that that school is moving forward, and the majority of voters in this community voted for that school, and I feel very certain that people are happy with the way things are going.
Anyone else have a comment? Go ahead, sir.
As Ms. Horne stated, they were unsure when this bond came through, but I have delved into this situation myself, and I found out that when we passed the bond for $54.5 million, we had seen plans for the school before we even had the vote. And they've gone back to the plans and cut things off, redid the school building itself. Instead of being a curved shape, it's going to be an A-frame type building, the main building that is. The $7 million in premium that we're going to go towards the school, and that's the reason why now we've got it, it's come under budget for the price. It's like, I think it's like 61.3, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty close to that. So we've had to cut some stuff. Ball fields are not going to be built until the second phase. So we're going to have to find more money for that somewhere down the line. The football field will be built, and some of the other buildings are going to be built also. So in answer to your question, this is where the money's going to be coming from to go under to make the budget itself. And actually, I think it was a little more than 63.4 or 5 million. That was higher. That's the reason why we had to cut it down. So we can get the main building, the other buildings, and the football field built.
Okay, so the earlier discussion that I had, wow, that was really loud. The earlier discussion that I had actually revolved around this high school issue. Okay, first of all, the difference in cost was not slight, it was significant. And the architects that I spoke to agreed that was a significant difference. The fact is that there were individuals in this county that were saying you cannot do what they've put forth. It was not because we hated children, as someone told me. It is not because we did not want a new high school. I was neutral on the issue. What I was looking at was outside of the facts. What does the plan say? And the plan could not be done. And that's what I told everyone. I said, you cannot build that footprint at that cost with that funding. It is impossible. It's not likely. It's not maybe. It is impossible. And that's what I told everyone. And come March in 2015, that's what we found out. It was impossible. Now, as far as that school being built, if you don't have folks that understand finance, navigating that process, what happens if it comes up short again? Because I'll tell you what, there's two things that can happen. Number one, the $48 million is not going to be enough even at the 61 or the 63. What happens if it was really another miss? So that's one way. Or two, the money that you've already gotten, what happens if you don't spend it right? What happens if you make bad decisions? And I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I'm going to go back to the review on March the 3rd. Has anybody up here ever seen every line item transaction for the school year in the most recent year? In other words, have you seen the checkbook for the school system? Because any family that does a budget doesn't just look at the high level, they go into the detail. And as a matter of fact, the Board of Education is statutorily obligated to do just that. They are to be good stewards of taxpayer money. They are to do an analysis of what they're spending and the revenue that is coming in. So here's the whole point I'm getting at. Folks, it's disturbing that a gentleman's going to look at me and tell me that I'm not for public education. That is ridiculous. The people that spread the rumors in 2014, they had out the little flyers that said, you know, here's the pro-education candidates, the secret Facebook pages, all of it worked. But I'm here to tell you that I'm a good man. I'm an honest man. I tell people the truth. And I tell it to you, or in front of me or you're behind me. This is what you need on the Board of Education when it comes to finance and curriculum and everything else. Because if you cannot trust your elected officials, be they on the Board of Education, be they on the Board of Commissioners, be they a judge or anyone else, if you cannot trust that person to tell you the truth, there's nothing else about them that matters, because just like in Scripture, everything's based on the truth. So that's the message that I want to get. Don't listen to the, let's get past this whole anti-education and don't like children and all that mess, because everybody knows it's not true. I've been one of the most vocal and most accessible people about this high school issue. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with is this. If you don't have someone on the Board of Education that understands finance, that can tell you what it means and what's being done in the school system, if you've got folks passing a budget and they've never seen the checkbook, that's where I can help the Board of Education. I can change that. And I'm going to finish with one other thing, I'm sorry. When everyone was calling me names and doing things behind my back, I didn't retort. Because that's the kind of man I am. When I see somebody in public, I shake their hand, because that's the kind of man I am. That's the way I was raised in Davie County. There's more to public education than sitting on a board with a career in education, or all these things that each of us bring to the table. There's something called truth and honesty and being a good person. And not just a good person in general terms. I'm saying when someone looks at you and you tell them something, they know you're telling the truth. Be it what they want to hear or they don't want to hear, they know you're telling the truth. That is important in public education. And that is why I made the decision to run for the board. I want to make sure everybody understands that nobody up here hates children. Nobody up here is going to stop the high school from being built. The only thing that's going to stop that high school from moving forward is either running out of money or spending the money that you don't have.